We are pleased to now be joined by David Ginley and Peter Green. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Your session here in the spring meeting dealt with the essentials of getting your work published.
Right.
So the first question is, how important is that, and who should be attending and listening as we move ahead in this field?
So this is an open forum on publishing, involving graduate students, mid-career researchers, and even the occasional journal editor who attends. And we discuss all aspects from how do you choose a journal, all the way through how do you deal with the refereeing process before finally publishing a paper. And so it's something that's of interest to everyone who publishes, and particularly to younger researchers who are new to the process.
Yeah, sure.
So I think we realized a few years ago that a lot of the incoming graduate students and even some undergraduates had no clue what the publication process looked like. And not all professors educate equally in that way. And so by creating sort of a baseline set of information about what different journals look like, how the publication process works, and especially what their roles are in getting the publication process to work. The submission letter, what kind of figures you want, what the article structure looks like. That has turned out to be very helpful, I think, and the sessions have been actually very full.
I would imagine there are a lot of questions after the sessions as well.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Sure. What are some of the key tips? What are some of the questions that you guys hear most often from these early career scientists and students?
Sometimes, how do you choose referees?
Really?
How do you identify referees for a paper that you're about to submit? Another one comes up is, what are important things to include in a cover letter for a journal? It's another very important question.
How to pick the right journal for your paper.
Sure.
What kind of paper should you write as a first paper? You can start off before you even have a lot of scientific results, and you can write a review article. And that teaches you a lot about the writing process. And scientific writing is not quite the same as what maybe you learned in, college.
From your freshman English teacher.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Some universities offer a class in scientific writing, but you only learn how to do this by writing your first few papers with your advisor and getting feedback. And that's a very slow process, and a very long process, and at times a stressful process for some students, particularly the first or second time, because they turn things in thinking they've done a great job, only to realize that they're not even close to the mark.
Definitely. And David, you mentioned earlier in this interview that not all professors or whatnot have the same curriculum when they're speaking of in this field for students. Some students get the information they need, some have no clue, like you said. So do you think that maybe by these sessions, by the two of you and other people, that you are giving it the proper attention that this needs?
We're giving it attention that it sorely needs.
Yes.
Whether it's the proper attention, I don't know. I think what we're doing is creating an environment where MRS and the journals is actually willing to help mentor the people who want to write articles. And it's really this mentoring process. And a lot of the questions we get as people who published a lot of papers seem, really? But it's not what you know starting out.
I would also add that it's a place where there's so many questions, relevant questions that's come up, some of which the students never thought to ask.
Really?
And these sessions lasted over an hour and a half. Largely driven because of the questions, and so I think they walk away being quite knowledgeable about the process, and at least getting a sense of how closely or how more deeply they should be looking at some aspects of publishing, and they walk away at least with a better appreciation for what's involved.
Yeah, and there's a lot of nervousness that maybe wasn't there before, because now publications search electronically for figures, they search for text, and how to write the paper in such a way as to get it through the review process efficiently is a little bit of an art form.
Sure.
And if we can convey how to do that, we save them a lot of time.
We also discuss ethical guidelines as well, which is also very important.
That's right.
Yes.
You guys try to cover everything. David Ginley, Peter Green, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for putting on this session. It's very valuable.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it.
You got it, gentlemen.